Headlines read, 2-year-old beat to death, 18-month-old was drowned in a bathtub, and 46-year-old mother was shot in the head to death. Violence by children is becoming more and more common with the years to come. According to the National Center of Children Exposed to Violence, 10 million children a year are either exposed or victims of violence. Children exposed to violence Children exposed to violence can be permanently affected in the most negative of ways, but if caught in early stages can be helped by activities such as therapy. So people I encourage people of the community and parents to pay attention to children and what they do. Today I will talk to you about the sources of violence and how they affect children, some current cases, and why we should address this issue. The National Institution of Children's Health and Human Development have researched and found that there are three main areas in which children are affected by violence. They are domestic violence, community violence, and war and terrorism. Domestic violence is violence within the homes, such as parents beating on other parents, parents beating children, and children neglect. Community violence is considered gang violence and also explained as school violence, which is school shootings and bullying of that sort. War and terrorism violence is related to children in the way they see war and terrorism on the television, such as the 9/11 attacks and sometimes the scenes of soldiers running through towns and villages of people of other nations and killing women and children. These three areas of violence affect children of different age groups differently. For infants, it's all about the people around the baby and the people holding the baby. If the person is feeling sad or angry or frustrated, the baby picks up on these feelings. This can cause the baby to be very fussy, or their eating and sleeping habits can be disturbed. For toddlers, they begin to wet themselves more frequently. They become withdrawn from people around them, and they throw very frequent temper tantrums. For elementary students, they act out more. Their eating and sleeping habits can also be disturbed, and they're very aggressive. Some current cases are the Jacksonville, Florida case for Christian Fernandez, a 12-year-old who beat his 2-year-old brother to death. The Times Florida Union reports that his father, who was in his life but not much in his life, because at the age of 12 he got Christian's mother pregnant and could have went to jail, but instead they put him on probation to help try and take care of Christian. But as the stepfather stepped in, Christian's father decided to step out. It was also found that Christian's stepfather killed himself in front of Christian. And also neighbors were very shocked to hear the charges against Christian, as they never thought that Christian was a fighter. He was very loving, and he was very diligent in doing things around the neighborhood. In the news projects, they found that Christian's mother had Christian at 12 years old and was in a very bad environment in the house. There was a very bad environment within the family household. Christian's stepfather would abuse the children. And in the case of a 5-year-old in Kansas City, the 5-year-old drowns her 18-month-old cousin in the bathtub. Her, along with some other children, were all being supervised by their 16-year-old cousin, who, as reported by the Huffington Post, was mentally disabled. The parents and relatives were very shocked at what the 5-year-old had done, since, although they say the 5-year-old was aggressive, they didn't think she would do something like this. In another case, in Big Prairie, Ohio, a 10-year-old by the name of Joseph McVeigh, who was 10, shot his mother in the head over some chores, over an argument about chores. He went to, after the argument, he ran to his room where there was found to be a gun case over his bed that had two unloaded guns, but there were also two loaded guns on his bed. He took one of the loaded guns and went to the door of his room and shot his mother, who was later found laying dead on their couch. All of these cases have one thing in common. These children, there is someone to blame, but there is not one person specifically to blame. Why take action? They are putting children in jail. There is an increasing number of children who are committing violent acts, and these things need to be taken care of. As a community, we are trying to keep our children and families safe, and with violence in the school and violence at home, no one is safe. So it is up to us to take advantage of programs like the Stay Smart initiative that is being developed by the Office of Juvenile and Justice Delinquency, and which helps to reduce the impacts of children who are exposed to violence. With this information, I hope that you will take a change. This is my issue.